Hi all, welcome to another Chess24 Banter Blitz. It's 11:30 AM UK time. Let's have a look at the voucher code screen first. So I'll just wait for my preview, which is now coming up. So you can get 15% off with the voucher code Kingscrusher, so you can get to play Magnus Carlsen, the world champion, and other great players, and myself as well, one of the bunnies, relative to the rest of the Chess24 team anyway. So yep. Okay, so let's have a look at the challenges today. I'll go on to the challenge mode, and I think today we've got a very strong first challenge. So Olaf. Okay, actually let's put the volume up a bit. I'll try the English opening. So we have symmetrical, try bottleneck system. Clamp down, pretty standard so far. I'm making some concessions on dark squares, of course, but okay. I'm just wondering, bishop d7, he could go for b5 still. Do I just want to play bishop e3? Maybe I can actually take this stuff and play d4. Or is that a bad plan? I'm not entirely sure. Okay, now he's encouraging me to expand a bit. I'm thinking now g4, knight g3, g5 is my sort of boilerplate standard plan here, to stretch out on the king side. g4, knight g3 takes away h5 from knight h5 if g5 is pushed, and then sort of make some space gains. Okay, I'll play g4 here. And aiming for f5 now. Although I don't want to give up the e5 square too quickly. I've just noted something. d4 doesn't seem to work because there's knight c2. I could rule out knight c2 with rook f2 if I want to play d4 instead of f5. There might be a perk to playing d4 to expose d6 as a sort of backward pawn here. Yeah, because he's sort of arranged himself for the e5 square. Okay, if I just at least get that a file. Can I play rook f2 here? Because there's no b4. One perk of the knight being on b4 from my point of view is b4. He's not playing that. Okay. d6 is naturally just hit now. What about this? Hang on, rook d2. That's a new one on me. I wasn't really expecting that opportunity. I was only trying to secure down c2 in one of the variations, but okay. He's on c4 now. Alright, can I protect that? I think I can. Just about. Okay. Maybe king g1 or h4, h5. Yeah. I think h4, h5 is as though I'm going to sort of hit his pawn chain hard. I know I'm creating a few weaknesses. Okay, g5. Get some space. There's still the possibility of h5. Just maybe hg, fg is getting that f file though. Might not be all that brilliant. Play bishop e2 for a moment, just to give me some more maybe flexibility here. Okay, so queen g1. That gives me actually the possibility of a strange e5 actually for bishop c5, because that would actually hit the queen and the knight. If I played e5, d takes, bishop takes. He's got rook takes d2, but I can take the queen. the bishop's held. So e5 might actually be interesting, just to puncture the c5 pawn. That's an interesting one. Because this knight's potentially a loose piece as well. Okay, so if I just do this, is there bishop c5 here? On rook d6 or bishop c5 anyway. I'm hitting both knights, it seems, on b6 and b4. This is a bit of a turn up for the books, because he did dissuade me from the f5 thing, and I thought d6, and then I noticed d6, and now c5. Maybe it's a case, related weaknesses. d6 is related to c5. It does undermine. So this is a turn up for the books for me. That I wasn't expecting d6 and c5 to be the focus. But you got to be like, I guess you got to be flexible in chess. I can actually take on b6 here with this battery. This looks like something's gone badly wrong for black. Okay, thanks to the game, Olaf. Yeah, that was interesting. I didn't really expect d6 and c5 to be, you know, so significant. Okay, MGTOW. This is this going to be a fixed center? Okay, so I'll fix the center, and I'm just wondering, the Botvinnik approach, I think, would be, well, he plays CD anyway. He play it with bishop f4 and e3. I've seen at least one Botvinnik game. It looks as though black's really solid, but I think there's a bit of nagging pressure here for black to deal with. I'm actually wondering if knight b5 is almost appropriate in this position. Knight e5 after. And let's say bishop e7, knight d7, knight d7. Bishop a, no, or a4. I think rook c1 as a starter. I guess bishop e7 is going to be played. All right. Well, that's kind of interesting, I think. But maybe it's not critical. Maybe it's not. Although, I'm wondering about bishop c7 though. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure about this one. I think I'll I'll play it for a laugh anyway. I'm not entirely sure. Just try and punish the king in the centre. Is there bishop c7 and knight e5? It looks as though black's in an awkward spot, but whether this is worth anything, I'm not entirely sure. If I castled, isn't there at least bishop d6 for a repetition, if nothing else? So I've got this. Okay, I'm letting him off. I've got the two connected pass pawns as well. I'm wondering if I get a pawn to... If I just put the pawn on a4, I'm just wondering what black is doing. Okay, is it just an unsound piece sack? It probably is. Yeah, maybe this is an unsound piece sack, because my queen is if I hang on a sec though, rook c3, there's knight e4, or is there? I'm going to try rook c3 just to protect my queen. I don't want to run out of pieces here. Knight e4. There's rook c6. Okay, I think there's good news here, in that there's now rook c6 on knight e4. In fact, knight e4, what about... There's actually bishop takes d7. I've just realised that, because I'm hitting his queen. I think I get my piece back with bishop takes d7, because the rook on c3 is protecting my queen. That's a kind of weakness of the last move, neglecting d7, which I've kind of mentioned. I think a lot of blitz games are won with the weakness of the last move, exploiting that. The queen's hanging here. There is knight e2 check, but the queen's hanging here. I think I was a bit outrageous with that piece sec, to be honest. I don't think the engine's going to like this game. I had a specific idea or two, but I think, yeah, thanks. I think it was slightly outrageous. I don't think this is anything to worry about. For some reason, I looked at bishop c7. It gives it as equal, actually, here. With bishop f4, just repetition, bishop f4, bishop c7 idea, or bishop e5, bishop c7. But okay, so this at least protected the queen, and this is just a blunder, is it? No. There's rook takes c7 here. Okay, that yeah, very unsound game. Well, yeah, okay, I don't know what to say then. Sorry about that. C4. Yeah, I had an idea. It didn't work out really. Well played. Cobra. Okay. If I play e4, doesn't that give me a quick e5? Haven't we had this story before where it's not that I've played d4, I've played c4, and this space advantage. I think we've had this story the other day, didn't we? Last week or something. I kind of like this kind of 4 pawns attack versus what seems to be a kind of passive version of the King's Indian defense. I just feel that it's a bit squishy, this position already, as though black's going to get squished. But that's just the feeling, or that might have happened before in a previous encounter, black getting squished from here. I'm not sure about this opening for black, basically. I'm not entirely sure about this. Because it does mean also, I'm delighted that the f6 knight is, I'm just thinking Greek gift time now. Or h-file attack, I don't know. It looks as though I just can't resist this. I can't resist this stuff. No, I can't resist this stuff. No. Cannot resist this stuff. Okay, so that's a delightful h-file opened up. And if I just go in with the queen, I mean, queen h6, I mean, or am I blocking my queenside casting? Is there king f7 or something? Is there d5 to try and rip open this diagonal? Or is there knight c5 to punish that? Okay, it's solid for a moment in inverted commas. So I think I might need to consider this carefully. I'll go with d5 to start off with. There is in fact rook h8. What about rook f1? On knight c5, maybe just bishop c2. I don't, from black point of view, I'll be worried about this swamping in the center here, because the pressure's been relieved off e5. Okay, if this f-file is anything with the king there, I'll move that. I want to keep some attacking piece tension going, not have them swapped off. Okay, my king is challenged. Okay. Is there something like b4 and bishop b2 out of interest? Just to try and get my rook behind the queen. If I had my rook behind the queen, I think that's a good thing. And the bishop on b2 might be a good thing. And the bishop on b3 might be a good thing later for this diagonal. So if I arrange my bishops on b2, b3, my rook on d1, I think my prospects will be good. Okay, there's knight g3 happening though. Okay, my king is not safe enough. Let's just go here then. Uh-oh, technicalities. So knight g3, I have to be able to answer knight g3. I guess there's knight e4 after. Things could get nasty. For both sides, maybe. Although d6 here looks a bit delightful. I'm going to kick this back. I'm really going to kick this back to try and get some sort of... There's pieces in the box on both sides here. Spectator pieces on both sides. Mutual spectator pieces. Okay. If I took on e4 here, doesn't that give me a juicy knight g5 potentially? Well, in fact, isn't there knight takes h4 check here with that rook on f1? It's good in general to have alignment. I think there's an international master on YouTube that talks about alignment in general as a tactical thing. Knight takes, because I've got the rook aligned to the king, but he's attacking now. Is that the refutation? Or can I take on h4? And he takes my rook and he hits my queen. So maybe it's not a big deal. Unless there's a rook h1. That's a shame. Isn't there... Hold on a sec. There's still rook f2. Knight e4, knight e4. If d takes, knight takes his check. If knight takes... I think rook f2. Because, let's look at this again. Knight takes, knight takes. If bishop takes, there's knight takes. So I think rook f2, keeping that alignment going for a bit. I might be wrong about this, but f takes, there's the discovered check. Knight takes, there's knight takes, protecting the knight. The knight protects now the rook. So I'm still looking forward now to knight g5 check. Now queen h6 might even be better. Ed, knight g5 check. And that looks nasty for black there. Maybe I can play c5 to shut down the d file. That looks nasty, this invasion with knight g5. The knight and queen should work well together. I'm thinking Ed, I can shut down the d file with c5. So let's have a look at this. Ed, knight g5, king e8, queen g6, king d7, e6 check maybe. There's all sorts going on there. I think safest might be just c5 here coming up. Or knight g5 looks too tasty to pass off. I don't think there's a queen sack there, so it looks like a free tempo. And a free pawn here. I'll go with the free pawn. Now, there is e6. Unless there's anything stronger than e6. Oh, there's queen f5. But then there's king c6. I think e6 is interesting. And then maybe c5. Or there's another free tempo, bishop f4. And now maybe b5 or c5, maybe c5. It looks as though black's a bit unwell there after c5, just restraining the pieces. Get the rook involved. Well, there's c6, which creates some imprisonment issues, which looks too tasty to pass off. I'll protect this guy for a moment. Okay, let's get the queens off before the queen does anything naughty to me. And I think there's some imprisonment issues there, which Leela would approve. So bishop e5 to f6 with the pieces in the box. e7. Let's keep the pieces in the box as far as possible, even if it's a cost of a pawn. Oh, there's bishop b3. Hang on. Oh, that's hanging. Weakness for the last move. Alright, thanks, Cobra. Yeah, I'm not sure about the opening there. It seems a bit passive. The mechanic. Now, the mechanic is a dangerous character. He did beat me the other week. He's in my notes. Dark Horse mechanic, underrated, can be dangerous. Private notes. Must not give mechanic any king safety issues where possible. Okay. Knight e2 and d4. Okay, this is a dangerous line. I realise that. This is a dangerous line. Can I play CD and d3 after? So d3 just to let black take on d5. Okay. Put the knight back away from my d3, so I've got a Scheveningen pawn structure in the centre with a thin-shadowed bishop, but ruling out knight b4 or bishop b4. I would like to just castle here, if possible. Well, that piece is hanging. A weakness of the last move is a very big thing in Blitz. I think check, queen d5 hits there, but queen f3? Alright, yeah, it is a piece blunder. Thanks, mechanic. Okay, a 3-minute game. Talk Medita. Okay. Excuse the pronunciation. Oh, let's not pre-move that. So my King's Engine style, I do like this flank attack business with the centre closed. It's one of my favourites. It gives me an aesthetic pleasure, this kind of flank attack King's Engine style, even if win or lose, some sort of aesthetic satisfaction from playing in this way. So knight f5, knight d4 would give me bishop d5. Okay, maybe I should take off that bishop, and then trench knight on d4 here is very attractive. So I will take off that bishop with the knight, keeping my light square bishop, which, from a King's Engine player perspective, is often the hammer blow to the light square pawn chain that you sometimes need to break through in the King's Engine. Okay, no. Let's keep the attacking intention. I've changed my mind there. If I didn't expect that. Okay, I want to keep some attacking piece tension where possible. I don't know if you've seen games of Mikhail Tal. He tries to keep the queens on. There's even queen dancing scenarios in some of his games. He's trying to keep the queens on to his opponents. Try and keep the piece attacking tension where possible. Okay, let's hit the rook. There's alignment against the rook. One of the key tactical signals to watch out. So if you've got pieces aligned to the opponents, you've got to be careful. Let's see. Let's clamp down on c5, which could be a strategic pawn break, and b4, dissuade b4. And I think the g file is the road here to build up on. If this had been the strategic break, g4, Leela would have spent 20 moves preparing g4 to put the pieces probably a bit like this, probably. There's also e4 hitting the rook, but I'm going to build up on that. Oh, hang on, doesn't that just win the queen? Did I just miss that on the previous move? I think I might have done. It's only a 3-minute game. I was chatting too much. I might have missed that on the previous move. Knight g3 is pretty awkward. The king has very little escape squares. Okay, thanks for the game talk. David Kresdy. Okay. Okay. let's tango this light square provocation. On the Kingscrusher channel, by the way, I looked at a Magnus Carlsen game. He does knight g8 in the Alekines, and this is a kind of similar provocation strategy in that if the opponent's pawns are on light squares, you want to tap into the dark squares. If they have e5, you want to tap into the light squares. Provocation with knights is a very interesting thing, I think, in chess, because committal pawn moves, if it was IT, they'd be like type 1 decisions, irreversible decisions when you move pawns. And the knights are the real provocateurs of the pawn chain, getting pawns to move forward committally. If it was an IT decision, those sort of decisions are sort of left as late as possible to have as much thought into them as possible, non-reversible decisions. But here, this whole provocative tango, I really like to create such provocation, to weaken those dark squares. So let's see, f5 and e4 would be giving the opponent too much. d4 would be given. I can put pressure on d4. I don't know if that's enough. g5 is also a big compromise. Okay, if I played f5, or is it worth it? It might be. You know what? I'm going to say that queen f6, it might be worth it. I'm going to assume, rather, not say. I'm going to assume this might be worth it. Because the knight doesn't seem to be going too many places now. Is there bishop d7, castling, and f4? f4, actually, if he castles knight f2, f4 seems to be on the card to liberate this bishop a bit more. If I had castles and f4, yes, castles and f4, I think this is going to be fun. In fact, I've missed bishop e3, haven't I? That would have double attacked the queen and bishop. I missed that. Just missed that tactic. Bishop takes e3. That was a weakness of the last move, in a way, neglecting e3. It was an open invitation there. An open invitation, basically, bishop c3. I've just missed that open invitation for bishop e3. I wasn't too much on the lookout for this bishop e3, though, prior to that. I think if you look at the forcing moves well in advance, then when the moment comes, that appropriate moment, you're ready to pounce like a hawk. But I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready on that occasion. So he's using that pin now on the e5. There is a purpose to this, and it's being celebrated now. So, okay, so he's on h5 as well. Okay, so knight takes f4. It wasn't a brilliant piece on g6. Okay, let's see. Bishop d7, maybe plausible. Maybe. Okay, I think he's justified the bishop c3 with help from me. It was like an illegal move. It's been justified. Okay, so queen g6 or rook e8. I think I have to now support e5. Okay, I've got to be careful about getting mated on h7 as well. There's only fg there, not here mate. Okay, things are not that comfortable. Queen h6, is that plausible? Actually, you know what? I've just had a thought. This is unpinned, which means actually I should consider this now to slice these guys. F takes knight f2. Maybe that should be on consideration. Okay. There is also fg now possible for bishop f5 without being mated on h7. I think this is better to shield the king now. So bishop f5. If I provoke e4, am I actually threatening e takes here f? Am I? Okay, I think I should take here. If I play b5 to shield b7, c5 and d6 for winning the exchange with knight f7. Interesting. Oh, he's going to win the exchange anyway here. Okay, now that I've played it like that, I can just treat it as a gambit though. If I play king h8. Now there is rook f2, which gives me bishop e3. Mind you, knight f7 will win the queen. Alright, so it's getting pretty interesting. Bishop f5, knight f7, king h7, knight h6. There's bishop e3, but it's not mating or anything. Bishop e3 immediately for bishop f5. No. Queen g6 for bishop e3. Queen g6 might be interesting. Okay, what do I want to do here? Do I just want to lose the exchange? Do I want to play queen g6? Do I want to play bishop e3? Losing this other pawn here looks a bit painful. Yes, don't know. I think I'll go with this and not lose the exchange and just move that pawn. Actually, I'm going to use this check as an excuse to protect f7 and then just move this pawn. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to move this pawn. Things are looking dangerous with these. Maybe bishop d4. Maybe bishop d4 is interesting. So trying to suppress, I guess, this rook. Key point, not having a big gigantic pass pawn on c7 with an active rook, I guess, is important. This is a dangerous pawn as well. The king's behind it though. Can I play bishop d4 here? Is that any use at all to play bishop d4? Maybe it's okay, I'll go with bishop d4. Right, I'm getting a bit overloaded. Is there queen d6 or knight f7, king h7? Well, that would win the exchange. But then there's rook a8. I don't think that matters here. I mean, g3 gives me a potential pass pawn. Or rook f4. No. It's getting a bit dangerous. Okay, it is getting dangerous. I'm getting in big trouble. Yeah? Oh, it's only 37 seconds. It's almost pre-move time. This? Trying to avoid this overload situation. There's king g6 potentially. It's pre-moving as well. I think it's important sometimes. Uh-oh. No, Yeah, I completely lost control of that. Yeah, it's just pre-move time in the end. No, I lost control of that totally. Well played. That was overloaded. I was overloaded. Past A pawn, F7 issues. I was really overloaded. It's only the clock. Saved by the bell. Yeah, that was oh, okay. Try and get out of my mind. Okay, for this game, Rook B1, B4, B5, Knight E1, and then B4. There is a very naughty thing, which the bullet players are aware of. If it gets down to a few seconds, it's a skill, I suppose, that if you can put the opponent in check, they have to respond to the check. It's a very, very naughty. It's nothing really to do with chess. It's more to do with the clock management at that point. It's more to do with clock management. So just to shut down the opponent's pre-moves, but it's not. It's the last resort. It's a last resort strategy. Well, it's the only strategy when you're down to a few seconds each, though. It is a lottery then. Who's going to lose on time first? So, okay. We're not talking classical chess here. So, okay. So, queen... Okay, okay, I like the light square bishop here. The c5 are not so much. The c5, once the rook moves, c5 is a good square for black. H3 and bishop e3, I don't know if that's even a worthwhile pursuit here. I think I'd rather give up this bishop to weaken d5. So knight c2 to e3 to d5. But giving up a certain bishop, the other colour sometimes comes alive. Generally, if you look at a lot of neural network games recently, they give up a bishop of certain colour and the other squares they celebrate pretty soon after, sometimes with spectacular effect. I'm going to do that. I'm going to give up that because there is a Boleslavsky hole here. This d5, sometimes called the Boleslavsky hole. So knight e3, knight d5. It looks like a classic manoeuvre here. I have got backward pawn to play with as well, so can I like treble on the b file at some point as well? The knight on d5 actually hits b6 as well. Queen c6, there's knight e7 check. Can I treble here? Maybe a lockdown with e4 is appropriate, just to stop e4s if I want my queen on b2 without e4. So let's imagine queen b1, queen b2. Okay, and that's not. There's knight d3. So for the moment, I'm going to just play simply doubling rooks. Still a bit of pressure on b6. I thought that was an upside for white. For black, this c5 square, it looks like a nice upside for black. But on the other hand, I like my knight now. So if I double the rooks... Okay. I can have the Alekhine's gun. On the other hand, there's knight a4. If I go rook b2, queen b1, there's knight a4. I can try and work on this bishop. If I get these pawns to go, I have this diagonal with bishop f5. So I'm going to try and soften the light squares with h5 to try and get a bishop maybe across this diagonal for a moment. So I'll play on both sides of the board. This bishop hasn't got the counterpart, so I think this is the one to celebrate a bit. So that gives me that diagonal. Bit of inroads there. So bishop f5, that's good. A light square installation. The pawn break, there still remains a potential f4 pawn break, but it would liberate the bishop. I don't know about giving up the bishop here. I lose my d5 knight post, which is attractive. On the other hand, knight d4 is threatened. If I give up... Oh no, I think that's too much to give up. I think I'd rather sack the exchange. I think I'm just going to go for an exchange sack, voluntary exchange sack. This bishop's kind of a prisoner in this pawn chain. I think these pieces are going to be enjoying the pawn structure, the knight and bishop. I've still got a backward pawn to play with. I just need a pawn break somewhere. Okay, the exchange down, but a pawn break somewhere. I mean, black's pretty tied down here. D6 is also a target, I've just noticed. A4, queen A3. I think that's also a slight downside of black's position, D6. So if I played A4, he's looking at it in advance. If I go back to try and win B6, this reminds me of this recent game of Adams in the British Championship. He had a massive, it's actually later you'll see this game. I've done a premiere for it at 4:30 on the Kingscrusher channel. There's an interesting game of Adams with knights coming up. Can I just win a pawn for the exchange and for that to be winning here with rook B6? This is interesting. Although I could try and optimize for that. Just enjoy the light squares for a bit more. I can try and optimize for taking on B6. For example, say my king was over here on C3. Okay, some extra light square bonuses being created. So now I'm guarding some entry points. I mean, it's safer to win this pawn, the exchange down. Okay. Is knight d7 doing anything, or just back to d5? Maybe back to d5? It looks like a juicy square for the knight. There's c5 and king c4. If I want to liberate the king, c5, king c4. Okay, there's this target. And then there's king b5 after. Oh, there was bishop g6 if I wanted the exchange. I missed that actually. Okay. I should have done that. Okay. Is there d4 here? Is that f4? I think my pawns are pretty stable. Oh, except for that one. Can I mate with the king or something? There's not enough time, but I think I missed bishop g6. Yeah, no, maybe I'm getting overexcited with that sort of position in a general sense, but I think bishop g6 to win the exchange there just earlier. Okay, thanks for the game. Alright, so Mattel Co. I like the experiments of positions exchange down for a pawn in general, where the other pieces really enjoy the pawn structure. But yeah, I think I made some mistakes there. I think black might be doing real well with the passed a pawn there. That's too much. This queen e8 gives e5 and e4 as a sort of a London system trap sometimes. Okay, it's not so much here though, so I'll play c5. This looks good with the diagonal. I think the hypermodern, trendy rook c7, queen a8 will be good for the diagonal. I've had this played against me when I played the London system with white, and it's kind of annoying, this diagonal. In fact, here there's also e5, isn't there, to win a piece. Okay, no, it doesn't win a piece. All right, was wrong about that. Oh, there was knight b6. Do I provoke knight b6 there? Not really, I don't think. I was thinking this, yeah, don't think so. Now I can threaten knight takes check. d5 looks interesting on knight h5. Alright, the bishop goes back to f2. Let's just go back here. Actually, a8, that's much more optimal for f5. We're going for an f5 plan here. Or h5, h4, and then f5 to try and break down this diagonal. Form pawn would be good to weaken f3 as well. Then play f5. So h4, h3, f5. So f5 around about here, or weaken the light squares a bit more. I think I would weaken them a bit more, taking out the light square defender, the bishop, light square defender. Okay, so looks as though f takes his crushing now, after that weakness of the last move. f2. I think it's over now. Right, fence the game, Mattel. Okay, Mike Goring. Okay. Isn't there a Goring Gambit? I've forgotten what variation that is. Goring Gambit? So am I waiting for d5 here? Should I be waiting for d5? Maybe I shouldn't pre-move that. Okay, knight d5 looks more appropriate now, actually. Potentially leaving a loose piece on b4 for queen b3. Is that useful? This is theory, I assume, anyway. e4, knight g5, he takes and he's hitting my knight. But I'm wondering if I do this, just to keep the knight protected, because there might be queen c2 tactically. Later. If he took cd, the knight moves, knight g5, h6, queen c2, hg, hg is dangerous probably. I don't have knight g6 there though. What if if I play a3, so I can play queen c2 without any knight b4 later. Okay. It's possible maybe I should play something more sensible, knight instead of knight g5. Well, here, this is a cheapo anyway. Bishop f5, e4, knight d5, knight g5. Oh, there's knight f6. There's knight f6 there. It's just I don't know now. How about b4 and queen b3? Is that a bit too tame? Okay, I'm going to go b4, queen b3. Just to be on the safe side here. Just protect d5. Okay, if I just protect this rook for a moment and develop a piece. If I take with the queen, is that any better? There might be something in that, as long as there's no bishop a5 winning the queen. I think it's... No, the d5 is been neglected. I think there's something to look forward to here. If I castle, I think I'm looking forward to d4. Try and blast through this diagonal. d4. If e4, maybe the pawn's weak. Knight g5, f5, maybe there's knight e6 there. Okay, this opens up the queen. Still looking forward to d4 potentially. Bishop e6 though. Queen c2. d4. Okay, this looks a bit weird with the pawn on h4. I think still d4. Trying to do something with this bishop, otherwise it's not doing much. Try and liberate this bishop. Okay, so knight d2. Okay, d5. Okay, no. Gotta move the queen. And stop f4. So much for this bishop. There might be knight c4 here. I don't know if that's... If I want to try and do something else with this bishop though. Let's put the bishop there for a moment. Oh, there's knight d5. I'm just going to offer the bishop up. A change of plan is needed here, I think. Rook a1. If left, if he doesn't play rook a8, rook a1. Okay. Is knight c4 too loose, or do I play bishop f1 first to support knight c4? This pawn sack, does it matter? Or do I just play rook b1? Maybe rook b1, just hold the pawn for a moment. Bishop f1 and knight c4. Actually, knight c4 gives knight a5. It's another plan. Knight c4, knight a5. Okay, my king's being attacked in the meantime. I'm wondering if there's a bishop e1 against a pawn pawn. Does he? Well, there's queen e4, knight c3. Does that immediately? The H file is potentially dangerous as well. Maybe queen d2 here to unpin stuff. Okay. d5. Actually, is there anything wrong with g takes trying to defend the king here? Just g take. There's e3 now. Huh. d2 then. Queen d1. Knight e3. At least I won't get mated on g2 so quickly. I would hope. Don't like the look of this. I haven't really got too many interesting moves here. Bit passive. Don't like the look of it. No idea what to do. I'll try this. It is protected by the queen after bishop f1. Uh-oh. Oh, that's a relief. I thought I was going to get mated with the pawn pawn. Okay, yeah, I was getting a bit worried there. Okay, it's the time situation as well, though. Kramnik student, hi there. Okay, so e5. Playing for d4 looks lucrative for the tempo gain. Stopping any use of g4. This goes into d5. It's a well-known trap, isn't it? In the English opening. It just goes into d5. There's queen a4 here for knight takes b5. I guess there was queen e7, bishop e3 to think about. Alright, yeah, a bit of a blunder there in the opening. Kramnik student. Epicurion. Okay. I'll go for the King's Indian style position. My favourites. Got to be wary about the light square bishop being exchanged off to bishop g4. The King's Engineer player fears that sometimes. This is quite committal for the light squares. g5 and knight g6. Isn't ED and knight c5 possible here? Maybe not. I'm going to try this. I think knight e5 here, or knight c5. Maybe knight c5 for b6 is more to the point, to reinforce d6 against the bishop. So if I can play b6, that gives me bishop b7 potentially as well. Well, not with a knight there. Actually, I guess knight g6 to e5. He can always play knight f5 and try and open up this diagonal. This knight's loose as well, though. How about knight g6 to e5? Yeah, I don't think knight f5 is on the cards. Knight g6 to f5. I don't want to give a marker for the e6 square. So I'm thinking still knight g6 to e5, which give me a f3 potential. I guess there's b6. Oh, it's going to be a pain. Right, is there 95 or not? 95. Is there f3 on the cards here? Right, so b6, just try and, against white playing b6. This looks like a reasonable position, doesn't it? I got a nice c5 knight, if nothing else. If I took off that knight, is that so bad? I like my c5 perch. Don't want to give it up for winning a pawn. I like the perch. I like the idea of king f6 and e4 for the king to invade. On dark squares. There's no rook a6 here, right? I don't want to necessarily lose pawns. This looks dangerous for g4 and rook a7, and I'm mating that with g3. If I get rook a1, g4, g3. There's no bishop d3, so I'm thinking if I can get a situation where I have the rook there for g4. Okay. Well, can the king go in? Just the pawn on g3 will do. I don't mind losing a pawn for a pawn on g3. It's restricting. The king has mating opportunities. I've got e4 and king coming in. There's a pass pawn there on f takes. And the king's coming in. Oh. Okay, I didn't factor that one in. Okay, get the pawn there. Oh, e4 would still be good. E4 to try and get a pass pawn over here. As well as mating opportunities. If the knight goes in, it's b6, rook b7. Okay, I think the knight can go in. We'll play the check first. Am I in trouble with his passed pawns? I might actually be in trouble because of these passed pawns. Okay, king f6, d7, king e7. Why didn't I take on d6 like a moron? I didn't take on d6. Okay. Actually, I'll take it like this. Oh, yeah, no, I don't know. I think I had ambitious plans, but I'm leaving behind loads of passed pawns, trying to get this. I'm focused on my ideas, but I'm just giving up passed pawns. Yeah, I think I was winning there. There's time pressure as well, though, comes in, of course. Chapper. Okay, Chapper. I think Chapper accepts the Smith-Morrow for some weird reason. I think, to me, that's a dangerous idea. But he tends to accept the Smith-Morrow on past encounters. Okay, not here. Why is his rating 1704? Hang on. Why is Chapper's rating 7? Isn't he like 27? What's going on here? Hang on. Has the system got his wrong? Has the system... What's happened to his rating? What's this? What's this? I have got a past score against them. Why are all his ratings... What? Is this another Chapper? I'm getting confused with the two Chappers. I'm getting confused. Sorry, there's another Chapper. I'm getting completely confused. Sorry. There's someone else with Chapper. I'm completely confused. Oh, I'm completely confused. Okay. There's another Chapper. Okay, with a similar... Okay. Forget it. If I don't mind the exchange of queens here. Knight b3, king f1. He is the 2600 Shepper. What on earth has gone on here? What on earth has gone on here? I'm now for. Uh-oh. Did I just lose the game? Oh, God. Let's not do that too often. Okay. Let's stick with the game. I'm going to lose 2 rooks for nothing. Oh, that's just great. What about this move? That's an interesting move in the circumstance. Might not have anything else going. It still loses a ton of material. Just queen a4 or something. Queen a4. I still lose a ton of material. Okay, the way he's played it though, it's only it's as I say, only a bishop instead of like the whole house being lost. I mean, that's a good thing. Didn't lose the entire house there. Still doesn't look entirely appetizing to be a whole piece down for nothing. No, I don't know what I'm doing. Do I play this here? Did he lose 900 rating points because he had internet connection issues? I'm just wondering now. I'm wondering, was it internet connection issues out of interest to lose 900 rating points? I'm curious. So if this is the guy that was 2600 the other day, okay. King c3 and b3 or not. Rook e4. Try not to be mated with a self-mate. I mean, knight e3. Wasn't I getting self-mated? Isn't that knight c6 here dangerous? Or no, not yet. e3. King c5. Chapper, I have to go to the def. What's happened to your rating? I have to go to the def because I don't know what's happened to your rating. You were 2,700 last week. What's going on here, man? Okay. Otherwise, yeah, okay. I would have just given it. If you know, it's like you're trying to do my rating in. Okay, thanks for that. Anyway, all right, yeah. That's a great gift. I'm getting completely confused. You got a score against me, Chapper. You're the same person as before. I'm completely confused. Okay, I'm really completely confused because... Okay, anyway. Dude thingy. Is that bishop f7 here? d3 and castles. Okay, please can you avoid doing that before stream? If you're going to challenge me, just challenge me to an unrated. I think it's a little bit unfair to do what you've done. I want to be honest. I just think it's unfair what you've done. If you're going to lose 2,000 points in one night, just challenge me for an unrated. You know, I'd really appreciate you playing around your rating. Because I'm just wondering, is it someone else I'm playing? Alright, so anyway, bishop e3, and if I castle, or is this too dangerous? Is it too dangerous to play bishop e3? Oh, I'm in big trouble here because of this pin. I can do this for knight e6 tactic. Knight d4, knight e6. That's useful for pinning the knight anyway. So knight d4, knight takes, knight e6 check. Right, so knight takes gives me knight e6 check, weakness of the last move there. So I'm threatening queen takes g4 here. Right. There is actually bishop h6, isn't there? No, he just takes e5. What about e5? e5 I think is interesting because on queen e7 I think there's rook f6 and bishop h6. There's lots of interesting things going on here. Can I afford e5? It looks really logical to play e5, queen e7. What about just queen e2 there? Isn't simply queen e2 going to be unpinning that pawn? So yeah, I'm thinking e5 here now. e5 looks so tempting. Queen e7, queen e2. Oh, hang on, there's rook e8. Okay, I don't know. e5, queen e7. What about d4? Alright, I'll try this. e5. And d4. I probably want to unpin there. Oh, that unpins the e pawn. I was thinking more of this actually. Is ef actually on the cards here in this position? Wouldn't that just win material? E takes, unless there's something crushing here. I think e takes f. My sounds have gone. Right, so I take this. I can develop a piece with bishop g5. I can maybe I'll take this. Oh, I don't like the look of this. King c1. I don't like the look of any of it. King c1. I don't like the look. It's not ideal. It's a bishop up. It's not ideal. It's taking h2. It's taking g2. a3. Maybe a3. Maybe a3 is the move. Oh, actually, it takes bishop f4 check. Okay, not so bad as I thought on the counterplay front. Let's do this for b4. Right, so bishop f4. Maybe for bishop e6 or something. Getting short on time here. Bishop e6 gives bishop g4. And so actually there's bishop f3 and d6. Okay, g3 then, and there's g5. Okay. Right, let's just put this somewhere else. Oh, there's rook f4. Okay, there's rook f4. So whatever happens, am I losing a piece back? I'll try this. No, I don't like the look of this. g5, bishop f3. There's rook h2 as well, bishop f3. But only 30 seconds now. Rook h2, bishop f3. And it gives me d6 to play with, or a4. If I put my king on b3, I have a5 and d6, but if I put my king on b3 to get this rook out, well, there's rook a3 as well. I'll try and get b5 going. b5 for a6, is that dangerous? 23 seconds. Oh, that piece is gone. Okay, I don't know, it's crazy. Okay, let's go to the it's quite exciting. The voucher code screen. So we're 1 o'clock. Yeah, remember the 15% off. You can play me or other streamers. So 15% off, voucher code Kingscrusher. Hope you check that out. Hope you enjoyed today. Okay, have a good rest of Sunday, and see you next week. Thanks very much.